I wanted to talk about some of the selfish highlights I've seen around this growing pandemic known as SARS-CoV-2 and its connected disease of COVID-19. There seems to be a wave of misunderstanding of the importance of some of these situations. There are almost always, when they happen, we will not say, but what Nassim Taleb calls a black swan. The understanding that at any particular moment, although all we have seen is white swans, a black swan might come up. And a global pandemic has always been on that list of unknowns that could have a dramatic effect on the way we live our daily lives. One of the other ones was an economic collapse. These two may actually be closely linked. A pandemic could trigger an economic collapse. But there's something I wanted to talk about today that was on the positive end of that spectrum. And it's another little bit of a Nassim bit here. I'm a huge fan of Nassim Taleb, so we'll lean into that. Is that there are certain systems that will always, at least hopefully, grow stronger from these types of events and situations. And is that what we're looking at right now? Are we watching that moment in time where something disrupts the nature of our reality? And those that come out the other side of this next potential few-year, multi-year rest of the human species, potentially, we don't know how widespread viruses go. I mean, we don't have a vaccine for many viruses to date, so to think that we would get one is just almost childish. But to understand that what comes out the other side, the civilization, us, as we advance and progress through these bumpy times, there's a light at the end of the tunnel that I am oddly excited for. There's a part of me that feels like I've been planning for this a good chunk of my life, that seeing the economic system collapse in the early 2007 when I was younger, understanding the consequences and the fragile nature of the economic supply chain, I started to question whether or not I thought we could hold it all together. Like, could we really make it through just even a solar flare, right? There's so many different types of black swans. And I think it is highly disingenuous to assume that because your life is not at risk, for instance, with this COVID-2 disease, I'm a young man, I have no comorbidities, aside from the fact that I'm a little sick right now, that I would probably survive. And that, even if I was asymptomatic, right? I go into work one day, not that I have an office to go to, I work in the beautiful jungle, I'm pretty much at work. But if I, in this hypothetical situation, were to go in and get someone sick, the secret that they don't tell you is that you're actually putting other people's lives at risk. Now, this is a much higher population demographic. Those generally somewhere in the ranges of 50 to 90, and also with other historic problems in the medical world. So, sure, I might be fine. But isn't that selfish of our society? I think it is better for the society that is uneducated to panic and make the proper moves. And this is the problem here, is that when you panic, you might not do the proper thing. There are plenty of the people that die in this fucking ocean because they don't realize during a riptide, you're supposed to swim sideways, not try to swim back. You'll tire yourself out, creating more panic. So when I see people fighting over toilet paper, I think this is an unmitigated consequence of the mainstream media not supplying proper information. We know that masks make a difference. They've been able to use them to quell the spread of disease for a very long time. One of the reasons why you want to wear masks as a surgeon would be so you don't get your patients potentially sick, coughing in them, something that might not hurt you, but could kill them. And we know just from that fact alone, from the evidence that we've seen with SARS-CoV-2, you can easily spread this shit everywhere by coughing. That's why we cough. That virus wants to get out and spread to find other hosts. These viruses have evolved to do that. Not wearing a mask is fucking stupid. And when we know we might have a potential with an asymptomatic transmission, yeah, we should be wearing masks. As soon as you have community spread, people should be wearing masks so that we can try to stop this thing. Because just letting a virus run loose on the planet that we have never seen before and we don't know what the long-term consequences of could be it just makes common sense. It is actually almost a respectful thing to do, is actually take the high road approach and be like, okay, I should be masking myself, I should be preparing for this, and we should be doing the best to stop it in its tracks. Now again, everyone's going to argue, the governments will try to come up with solutions that are negative, and I agree with this. Look, governments will do things that are entirely tyrannical, but also probably not necessary. If you inform your public of the severity of the nature of these ideas and what they can do to rebuild society by taking their own time, self-quarantining, and understanding the risks that they pose to other people, will make a huge difference. And that's not what we see happening. So I do believe we've entered into a pandemic. Now, theoretically, I agree with Dr. John Campbell here. Maybe we could stop this still. And I pray and hope that that happens. But at this point, what I wanted to go over today is the excitement about what we could potentially see as post-traumatic growth. And again, this is where I sacrifice my ego and I say, look, maybe I die. There's a lot of people that could die from this, hundreds and hundreds of millions in the first year or two alone, which is multiple times our yearly average from every single way to die on this planet. Just do the math. Then that would be dramatic, very noticeable, and it would be heartbreaking. But we will make it through this. This species, this beautiful planet, is built off being a core pillar of the nature of what Nassim Taleb calls anti-fragile. I'll leave it with that as the beautiful sun starts to set, and I will bid you a farewell and adieu. Just here with the Arcane Bear, ranting about, although the difficulties of the next few years might be bumpy, the growth that I feel comes afterwards is explosive.